Hi everyone, can you hear me? Yes, yes, no, no. Okay, there is a little change in the schedule, so I'm taking off for Silverlight 4. How many of you are aware of Silverlight as in technology? Raise hands. Almost all of them. Okay, then I should walk back. Okay, how many of you are aware of Silverlight 4 or 3 or 2 or 1? How many of you are aware of 3? 3? How many of you are aware of 4? How many of you have used 4 in your development? Not even one? Maybe I saw one hand, 2 hands there. Okay. I have a short demo. I don't have a very long demo. I don't have a PPT as of now. I'm going to show you what is there in Silverlight 4, what are the new features in Silverlight 4. We'll be covering things that were there in Silverlight 3. We will be covering things that were there in Silverlight 2. We'll be covering things that are new in Silverlight 4 especially, because this session is dedicated to Silverlight 4 itself. I have a pre-created demo which is better than a PPT. I'm just going to run that. So are you guys able to see this? Yes? Okay, I would like some interactivity in this session. So it would be good. The very first thing I have here is I'll show you a video.
Hi, I'm David Pugmire, Product Manager of Silverlight and Architect of the Silverlight Demo Kit, and I'm really excited about the opportunity to share these fantastic Silverlight demos with you. Now, the Demo Kit is obviously full of excellent Silverlight demos, but it's also a great example of a Silverlight application in and of itself. That's what I want to share with you in this video, and then you'll be geared up to check out all the other cool stuff in here. Let's have a look. The first thing you'll notice is a landing page or home screen, and this ribbon menu that was chosen as the overall navigation method. You'll notice there are sub-tabs, each of which exposes a collection of thumbnails representing gallery items to load. The use of...
Okay, can you turn that on? I think I'll show you another video maybe.
Olympics are a massive project. It's an event with 34 sports, fairly formatted event, 10,000 athletes. It's a massive event that happened during 2008. For the 2008 Summer Olympics in Beijing, China, NBC was faced with a singular challenge. How do you take 2,000 hours of live video? The online audience is more important to us. There's a younger demographic. The demographic demands more from us. We need to deliver something to them.
I think I'll stick to my mic.
Exclusive advertisers on the web who demand very, very high levels of production quality from us. We needed someone with rock solid foundation in technology and experience. We needed some part to deliver us an audience because the Olympics.
Okay, let me start showing you the demo itself. I think we don't have a very good video thing playing up here. Okay, so the very, very first thing that Silverlight 4 came up with was the acceptance to some more hardware devices that we can connect to our Silverlight application. Some of them are your mic, which we were not able to access in Silverlight 3. Your a video phone, if you have a video connected or webcam or something connected, we were not able to access that in Silverlight 3. We were also not able to access some more hardware devices that are connected on your device. So this is one demo that shows you how you can connect to a video. I have just connected this video, and let me see if I can show myself. I'm not a very good looking person. So whenever you turn the video on, the interesting thing is Silverlight 4 has a built-in a system where it tells you that the Silverlight application is trying to access your hardware device, and it will pop up with this message saying that would you want to allow the microphone or the camera to be used in the application. Now you cannot avoid this, it is there as in inside the sandbox. The reason for this is you are creating an application that is hosted on a web. The security levels for that are to be elevated. Now there is no way we can basically elevate the security level. You cannot run right click on a Silverlight application and say run as administrator, and you cannot do all those things since it is all running inside a sandbox. Now Silverlight guys, they came up with this nice idea saying that we can pop up a message allowing or disallowing. The decision depends on the end user itself. So if you say yes, it will connect my webcam. I'm looking too bright today, I'm not sure why. So what I can do here is I can capture a video. So for example, I'm keeping on speaking, and you can see that orb thing keeps blinking and all that, and it is capturing all that video, and I would stop that, and you can see that it has created this nice video. I can play that video back. For example, I'm keeping on speaking, and you can see that orb thing keeps blinking and all that, and it is capturing all. Not bad at all, right? So I'm not too much audible. So you also have effects, so you can take an image out of the camera now, and you can do a lot of effects on that. You can do pixel shading, you can do a lot of things. Some of those examples here are the pixel shading. This is the crayon effect, this is the chroma key effect. If I increase it a little more, it will just give me that. So the best thing to do is when you want to do a chroma key, if I take something like this Aquafina bottle and then say find everything that is blue, just replace that with something else. I'm trying to do that precisely. So it will basically remove the whole thing. So I'll just try to do that on myself again. Let's see if I can do that. For example, I want to replace everything that is black. I'll just replace things which are black. So you can see all the dark areas now are replaced with some random text. I can simply replace that with red or blue or something. What it is doing internally is it is at every point of time, it is taking all individual pixels, finding out that if that pixel color is somewhere around in that range, it is simply replacing that entire range with another specified color or another specified overlap. So you can do something like that. For example, I do that on my face itself, which is quite bright right now, and that would make me look more uglier than required. So let me show you one more, which is a bulge effect. Now these all effects you can very easily do using the regular code behind. So I'm just trying some more. It does a bulge on my. I'll just increase the radius. That makes me more bald, isn't it? Thank you. So you can see you can do a lot of effects. You can also connect it to audio directly. Now for example, right now it is connected on this audio, and if I say increase my sensitivity, and according to that sensitivity increase the strength also, and give me a bulge somewhere in the middle, somewhere around here. So if I talk really loud, let me reduce the sensitivity a little more, okay, and the strength also a little more, I mean a little less, and then if I say something loud, that bulge will like literally bulge from the center. I'm looking too weird, so let me not show this. I don't want people to puke around. This is the embossed effect. Let me skip on the embossed effect and all that. This is completely crazy. We don't want to show this. So what we are doing here is we are basically taking effects, and we can take snapshots. We can take photographs. We can simply click, click, click. We can get a lot of photographs of that. We can turn off the video. You can see that the video is off now. You can turn it on again. The interesting thing is it does not keep bothering you for every turn off or turn on whether you want to allow it or not, because it takes it only one time for this particular application. So this is a small demo to show you that that you can use the webcam or any camera that is connected for video kind of a purpose. Now there is another demo that is quite interesting. You guys know, you guys go around shopping and all that, you see that there is a barcode scanner, right? When you take that barcode scanner, you scan it. In Silverlight, you can read that barcode completely, and you can convert that into an understandable thing. So for example, I'll just run this demo. I'll say turn on camera. Again, it will tell you, do you want to allow it or not? Say yes. And this time, my face does not have any barcode, but I've got a bull here. So I'm just going to scan that. I'm just trying my level best for the barcode. That looks quite neat. So I'll just scan that. So what it is doing, it is searching for a barcode, and it will say that this barcode was associated to this particular project, or this, sorry, not project, this particular product, and you can find out details of that product. Now imagine these days you have Silverlight applications running on your Windows Phone 7. I mean, you don't have Windows Phone 7 yet, but you would ultimately get the Windows Phone 7, right? Now imagine you walk into a store and you want to find out more details about a product. You can simply take out your phone, take a snapshot of the barcode of your book or of whatever commodity you're trying to buy, and you can get ratings, you can get other information from the application itself. Since it is Silverlight, you can connect it to online, and you can find out information about that, and you can buy that. For example, this particular thing is showcasing that you have this particular book to be sold and is this much price and all that. So what I'm trying to say here is, it is not that the camera is used only for one purpose. You can use it for other purposes also. There is one interesting demo here which is interesting because it is not too much of a utility. So for example, if I take this out, so I'll say install out of browser. I'll say go ahead and show it to me on desktop. By the way, how many of you know that there is something called as an out of browser application? Out of browser, OOB. Okay. Do you want me to show you how to create an out of browser application? Yes? Yes? Okay. So some coding is required. That is my firewall, and that is bing.com showing an error. If I go to msdn.com, I thought we had good Wi-Fi here. Okay, we have good Wi-Fi. So we are showing youtube.com inside here, and let's just wait for some video kind of a thing to load up here. Let's stick to bing.com. That's fine. I'll say yes and say Great Indian Developer Summit. So you have some GIDS results here, and I'll just click on Puzzlify. Now if I scramble that, you can see that I'm able to take the entire image and scramble it completely, and you can make it as a game or something. I'm not too good at all these games. I'm a developer, obviously. So you have this. The best thing to do is just have hints, and it will fix that thing up for you. And that's how you play it. That's how I play it, basically. And there are utilities. You can make this kind of an application where you can break off screen parts. You can use them. You can even do that online. If there is a video playing, you can even this thing can be broken up online. So let me just try to show if I can find you something on that sort. So here is one demo that supports Indic. So if you have a rich text box to be created, and if you have multilingual, you can see here that we have a couple of languages here. I kind of don't understand all these languages, but seems like this is right to left, RTL support, and this is, I think, Japanese or Chinese or something. So basically we support more Indic support, we give you more language supports on Silverlight now. And this is one example to show you that it's very easily doable, even if it is in the same page and all that. We were talking about out of browser, so let me show you this demo, and then I will show you how to create an out of browser application. So this is just a simple example where I can do something. I can click on a person and can find out his information. I can cancel that out. I can find out something more about the other person. I can cancel that out. I can go online, I can sync with it, I can reset the contacts, I can say a new contact, and you can see it comes up with a new thing. So for example, I say Vic Pharma Company Infragistics and whatever. So I'll just say save on that, and you can see that we've got 3 entries in there. Now, if I wanted to create this as an out of browser, I would click on create a desktop shortcut and say give me a shortcut on start menu and desktop. I would say okay on that. So this is called as a contact editor. Let me just close this thing out. So you can see this thing is running completely out of the browser. Now the moment it runs out of the browser, you get a lot more features, and you have the opportunity to check whether you are online or offline. You have the opportunity to check whether the server is available or not available. You can do different things according to the status of your applications. For example, if it is running offline, if you have created this, now if I am completely offline, if I close this application out completely, let me just close this out, and you can see I would have that application inside here. So it's called as contacts. You can run that thing as it is. You can see it had created a desktop shortcut also here, right? This one. So it can create a desktop shortcut. It can be searchable inside your start menu, and you can run it like this. The interesting thing is, if you are offline, the application can find whether the application is offline or online, and you can decide as a developer whether if it is running offline out of the browser, if it is running out of the browser, if it is running inside the browser, you can make that behave differently. If it is offline or online, you can make that behave differently. Just for example, if it is offline and if it is running out of the browser, obviously if it is offline, it would be running out of the browser anyway, but if it is running out of the browser and it is not online connected, for example, you take the laptop, put it onto your, if you are flying around or something, just run the application, and you want to put in your details there. We have something called as an ISO store, isolated storage. Now you can buck up the isolated storage to take up a lot of more space in couple of GBs, and what you can do in that is you can have all the details that you were required for the application to run, plus when you run the application, when you put in some more details, for example, you are doing some kind of an entry, or you've created a scheduler application or something, you're just creating appointments or do whatever your business logic says to do so. You can do all that, and then the moment it goes online, it can sync up back with the server. Now, this thing is you say you are offline, disconnected from the server, right? You can go online. So if I say go online, it basically goes online and syncs up, right? If I say sync, it will sync it up with the online, and it will find out that okay, there is a new contact added somewhere else, or maybe I've added some contact which needs to be synced up with the database or something. We can do all those things. It says network is available. Now I cannot simulate the network unavailability, because if I go offline, my demo would not work. But the moment the network goes off, the notification is automatically sent to the application, and you can find out whether the application is running online or offline, and you can change the behavior of the application completely. Let me show you how we can make an out of the browser application. It is extremely easy. I am using beta 2. The latest available as of now is the RC, and it is a lot more fun, but for this particular partition I have beta 2, and let's make an out of browser application. This is quite fast. How many of you have created out of browser application? Raise hands, maybe. Couple of them, one person. Wow. Okay. So I'll just create a new project. I'll say Silverlight, and I'll say Silverlight application. The framework can be 4 or 3.5, anything, does not make much difference. It has to be above 3 anyway. So I'm going to say target it to Silverlight 3. I haven't installed the Silverlight 4 toolkit down here yet. So I'll just say okay on that. So before doing anything, I'll just simply run this application as it is. I'll just try to throw in some controls. I have only InfraJ6 controls maybe, yeah, okay. I'll just put in, for example, a text block that says hi GIDS. That's fine, I'll just run that. Remember, this is what I'm showing you is Silverlight 3, not even 4 yet. So this is available out of the browser options are available even in Silverlight 3. So this is a simple application. I just right click and it shows me Silverlight, doesn't show me anything else. So what I wanted to show you is if you right click on the application, it simply just shows you Silverlight. If you want to make it out of browser, what do? Anybody who has done this before? Okay, you have to simply check on this checkbox, that's it. If you check on that checkbox, previously we used to do a lot of hacking. We used to go and change a particular settings file, and then we used to add in all the details ourselves. We used to write that XAML ourselves. But Microsoft is kind enough to give us a checkbox now, and it is kind enough to give us this settings screen, where the settings screens allows you, this particular settings screen allows you to put in a title, for example. Some title, okay. Shortcut name is SL for OOB demo, something. And some beautiful description that you can figure out. You can have icons 16 by 16, 32, 48, 128. What are these icons for? I will just explain that. I don't have a location where I can find out icons quickly, but you can just simply say browse and find out an icon, and you can put it there. You can enable GPU acceleration, which is something that Silverlight 3 and 4 got us. I'll just say OK on that. And the only thing I have to do next is simply run the application. Now this time when you run the application, you would get a right click and says install your custom application name into your computer. When you do that, you see this icon here. So this is the 128 size icon, okay. And the moment you install this application, for example, I put it on my desktop and I minimize everything. So this is the application that runs. Let me just zoom that up for you again. So this is the icon that you see. I didn't do anything. So this is the icon that you see is the 16 size icon. So you can define these icons which will come into relevant places. So 16 goes here, this thing goes with 64, you have 16 here, 32 goes I think in your taskbar, right? So you have different icons for different locations, and you can define them, and you can create that application out of the browser quite easily. So let me just close this thing out and head back to my demo. So what I just showed you was running something out of the browser. Let me close that out and show you a couple of more interesting things. So I showed you a rich notepad, I showed you out of the browser. Have you guys seen IIS smooth streaming? Are you guys aware of what is IIS smooth streaming? Anybody? Anybody who is aware of IIS smooth streaming? Anybody who has watched IPL over Airtel network? Yes, IPL is too famous right now. Okay, so what do you mean by IIS smooth streaming, and what does it do? Why is Silverlight associated to media, and why is IIS associated to smooth streaming and all that? So when you install specific things onto your IIS, it allows your IIS server to smooth stream to a Silverlight application. Okay, the smartness of the Silverlight application, what it does is it takes the bandwidth. For example, you have bandwidth throttling. If you wanted to get a lot of data because you have a lot of good bandwidth available on you, for example, you are on a 4 Mbps connection, okay, and you are watching an HD TV or a 720 or 1080 level of a video, and suddenly you thought, okay, you know what, let me download Silverlight 4 toolkit and let me also download Visual Studio 2010 RC, and your bandwidth would go down, right? Now, do you want your video to stop or glitch or, you know, shatter in between or something? No, nobody wants that. What Silverlight smooth streaming allows you to do is you can throttle it yourself down or up, or you can make it an auto. So when you make it an auto throttling, what it does is it finds out that you have the opportunity to download at this particular speed rather than downloading at that particular speed and then glitching it, because you were originally seeing it in 1020 or maybe 720p, which is the full HD, and you have to download so much data behind the lines, right, or behind the scene. Now, the moment the bandwidth goes down, for your reasons or for ISP reasons, the bandwidth goes down, what Silverlight application as in does is it will automatically reduce the frame rate, it will automatically reduce the frame size, and you would start seeing, rather than 720, you would start seeing maybe 480. Maybe the bandwidth further goes down, you will start seeing 320. It will go further down and down and down. Now, what you have to do is you have to do special configuration on the server side. You have to use expression media to make that entire thing work. Now, you have to encode that into different formats. Okay, it is not that everything happens automatically. It is that, okay, are you aware of something? Why do I need to send 4000 pixels on the client side when the person cannot see it, right? When he wants to zoom inside, when he wants to see the details inside, he can further zoom in and see, right? Am I right? Yeah. Now, what deep zoom allows you to do is, it takes that photograph, it breaks that photograph into 4 pieces, takes each piece, breaks that into 4 pieces, again takes that piece, breaks that into 4 pieces, and continues to do so, right? Now, when it does that, you will end up having one photograph which is of one resolution, one more photograph which is of a higher resolution, one more photograph which is of further higher resolution, but then you will have small chunks, right? When you do a deep zoom, you are not rendering the rest of the part of the photograph which is outside the screen. It will just show you the photograph which is only inside the screen. So technically, you are doing an online corp, right, which is only sending you only that part of the photograph, right? I have a demo of deep zoom which does the same thing to show you. But in the same concept, the video streaming is also working. When you have the video, when you take the video, break it up into so many small chunks, when you just download this smaller chunk, it does not have the clarity, but it still has, it will automatically smooth stream it. Smooth streaming, the whole logic is, it will never stop. The video will not stop, which is the interesting thing. The clarity can go down, but the video would not stop, which is what you want, I believe. So it is give and take. You download Visual Studio 2010 and you don't want the video to stop, you can get both of them. So here is a sample. Can we have the audio? I'll try this again. Okay, works. I won't touch it. By the way, this is updated. It is not 720p now, it is 1080. It is full HD. 720p is just the HD. So this is what I was talking about, is it adapts to the network bandwidth. You can change it yourself or you can see it yourself. So I hope you saw a little bit of it. Let me see if I can show you the live demo of it, which is really the interesting thing. I'm not sure if the live thing is working. I mean, the Wi-Fi that we have, well, technically the whole logic of bad bandwidth should be working here. Let's hope for the best. Let's just give it a shot. If it works in 2 more minutes, we'll just go ahead and use it. You guys might have seen smooth streaming already, but you would have not realized it, that there is a technology that comes from Silverlight that allows you to do all this thing. Just wait for a moment, we'll see if this thing works. This is quite an interesting demo, in fact. How many of you guys were aware of smooth streaming before this? A little bit maybe? Did you know that there is something called as smooth streaming? Is there any competing technology apart from the Silverlight smooth streaming that we have? Anybody who does this? Nobody? So Microsoft is the first one to do this, I believe. So right now we are seeing 0 frames per second. I just clicked on play. It should be starting. It should start to download the streaming. Work. I think I should skip it. So I'll just leave this thing aside. You guys can just go to that URL and see it yourself if you are on a good connection or something. Okay. The one that I was talking about, the deep zoom. This is quite an interesting demo. Deep zoom is an installer. You have to install a specific installer onto your machine called as deep zoom. You can take a lot of your photographs and just put it into your deep zoom and say generate a deep zoom. It will create the Silverlight solution for you, and it will come up something like this. You can see I can zoom in, and you can see the clarity comes in quite interestingly, right? If I had a mouse here, I would have done a scroll wheel to scroll out, but I still have the way to do this. You can see that this is quite smooth and quite interesting. You see this small text here? If I zoom in, it is quite clear. What it is doing is, right now, it is getting me an image which may be of this size plus another image of this size plus another image of this size. That's it. It's just getting me 3 images. But if I zoom out, I might be getting a couple of more images of a little smaller size. So the clarity of this thing can reduce, but I am now seeing a bigger area. The interesting thing in this one is you can define areas. So for example, I can simply want to go to this one, or if I want to go to this one, or if I want to go to something else. So you can define areas. You can find out that this particular thing is lying in this area. So for example, you have an image which is of, for example, 1,000 or 10,000 pixels or 12,000 pixels, but the height is only 800 pixels. So you have basically an extremely long image of all the people who are there in this particular hall, and then I have everybody's name inside an Excel sheet or a grid or something. When I click on one of those names, it will simply scroll down to that particular person's image, and I can deep zoom into that person quite well. So that is what you get in deep zoom. It does not take much of bandwidth because it is loading only that part of the image which is required. So that is a simple example of deep zoom, and it obviously allows you to do panning and scrolling and all that. Are you guys aware of the new thing that was added in Silverlight 3 called as Perspective 3D? It is perspective, it is not originally 3D. It is a perspective. So what is the difference between that is you are having a Silverlight application which is a 2-dimensional Silverlight application, right? Now every time you have a Silverlight application, you can take any of those objects. In fact, let me show you this by coding it and showing it. I'm not sure if I have so much time. The timekeeper is missing. So if I open a new project, I just say Silverlight application, 3 is fine. In fact, this is best done in Blend, so let me try that in Blend. Sorry for the confusion. So I'll just say new project in Blend. I'll do the same thing, Silverlight 3, Visual C++, C#. So I'll take in a rectangle or something. I'll just draw that out. I go to my properties. I'll just stick it on. And I'll just give it a color just for the sake of looking at it. And then there is something called as transform. If you see, you have a Y transform, right? Okay, and you have an X transform. You have a Z transform. So when you do that, I've just associated some values to it. If you check out the code, what is generated, it does a plane projection. Okay, now this plane projection allows you to do rotate X, rotate Y, rotate Z. You can have the angle of rotation also changed up. So what we have done right now is we have just rotated that into three different dimensions. Some of the good examples when we do this is here. So if I rotate that, this is the Z axis, if you remember. This is the X axis that we were talking about. Interesting thing is, even if it is playing a media inside, you can still rotate that, you can still play around with it. It works quite fine. So everything that you do inside this can simply go ahead and play in any perspective that you want. It's not a very interesting thing that I like. So you can see that perspective 3D really allows you. You had just seen one of the examples of perspective 3D. Do you guys remember the example that we saw in perspective 3D before? Which is the example that I showed you, which was out of browser? Remember when I clicked on the person and went to the details of that person, it rotated? That was the perspective 3D. So that is one of the implementations of perspective 3D in the X-axis, where you are using the same space. You're not opening up a details page or something, and you're keeping the user in context, saying that you clicked on this and the thing rotates down and shows you the details page, and you cancel that out and it rotates back to what it was previously. Lot of enhancements on pixel shader. This is a little interesting, not too much on the high side, I would say. So these are the new features that Silverlight 4 got us, and that's why I'm showing you. There are a lot of beautiful things that are there in the line of business, which were not added in Silverlight 4. So for example, I want to do an edge detect, and I want to do an edge detect quite high, or for example, I want to do a blur, right, or just give it a pulse, right. So these are some of the effects that we have. I just say none on that and just say enable a 3D effect and give me a blur on that, right. You can click to load another image. You can have a video itself, and for a video I can do an edge detect. I can do a pulse on that video. I can do an invert. I can do a blur, and I can see it normally. Wave is the crazy one. Right? You can do that to a control, which is the interesting thing. For example, you have a calendar control, you have a text box control, you have some navigation controls or something, and you can do a blur effect on this. Now the question is, why would anybody want to do a blur effect on a control? You are supposed to interact with the control, right? Why would you want to do a blur effect, or why would you want to dime a control? Now, for example, you are popping up a window and the user is not supposed to touch anything else, right? That is the time when you want to blur everything out. So for example, you have a grid, and the grid has a button called as delete this row, and you click on that delete, and it asks you a nice little question that this is this particular detail, it has this much of effect if you delete it, and whatever, say yes or no. When you do that yes or no, you can blur the rest of the part of the grid or of the page, where it becomes a little more better user experience. So you can use that for good reasons also, rather than funny reasons like playing videos. So those were a couple of things I wanted to show you. Do you guys have any questions or something? Or you want me to show you something more? What would you like to see in Silverlight? If you can tell me, I can show you that. I have a lot more things to show. If you want me to continue on, I can keep showing you those things. This is a fantastic application. I'm already been shown 5 minutes left, so I asked you, do you have any questions? Now this is something that I like as in a developer. When we create a line of business application, it is no fun thing, no video thing, no blur thing and all that, but see, if you have a login screen, things come up. Now I just gave a session on behaviors at morning 9 o'clock. I believe some of them were there here. So the effect that you saw when these panes came inside, that is the behavior that we got in Silverlight 4. You can see these, you can just easily create them. So for example, I go to my account overview. If you are creating an application that does this in this fashion, trust me, you will have a lot of your managers or a lot of your architects being extremely happy, because all these things come up so beautifully. You click on back and it goes back. You see that blur effect? It just blurs, or it just becomes opaque over a course of time and just goes back. For example, I want to see my checking account, and this is my entire checking account, and I can go back to my calendar, show what is there and all that. I can zoom in, I can see stuff, I can go back, I can go to something else. For example, I'm already at this. Let me go to credit card. You can see the statements. This is not my credit card statement. You can see some of the stock information. Interestingly, you can have your own notes. So if you wanted to create a note or something, you can create a note in there. So for example, I'll just say, this is a test, accept that, and whenever you move your mouse over, it will show you that particular note. You have this nice chart that shows up, and you can get into further details if you click on the rows and all that. And this is quite interesting. You have the entire chart that scrolls in, scrolls out. All these things are there thanks to Silverlight 4. You have the behaviors, you have scripts, you have states, you have transitions, you have fluid movement, you have fluid behavior. You have so many things that can basically help you in your development specifically for line of business applications and all that. So I just wanted to show you what is new in Silverlight 4. I hope some of you enjoyed it. If you have any questions, please go ahead and shoot now. Anybody, any questions? No one? Thank you. Thank you, everyone. There is a question. I believe you were there in my previous session also.
Yeah.
Yeah, I saw, I remember you. Yeah, go ahead.
What about the HTML support? See, we have a website where we have a CK editor. You know.
I don't know what is CK editor.
SCK editor. I mean, it's a rich text box.
Oh, rich text box. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So where we put all our design, like say we designed the entire thing, the text inside a Word, and just copy pasted in the CK editor.
Okay.
So when we save in ASP.NET, that CK editor transforms that particular thing into HTML tags and store into the database. So we can work around with that. So what about that kind of support in Silverlight 4? Because I was trying to convert that particular site, so I was looking for this kind of thing. I found few controls from component 1.
Okay.
It's something HTML host or something like that.
Okay. Now this session was about Silverlight, and Silverlight has only one thing that corresponds to this in a vague fashion. we can have the entire browser inside the Silverlight application itself. The crazy thing is Silverlight application runs inside the browser. Now inside the Silverlight application, now you can have a browser. Okay, I'll see if I can show you that right away. I don't have that here, I believe. But yeah, you can have the browser working inside the Silverlight application. Now, there are third-party controls which allow you to take HTML or take MS Word file or Excel file and drop it directly into and directly copy paste inside the ASPX, and then that would convert itself into HTML. Now, the problem in that is you have these MSO tags.
Yes.
Okay. Now those MSO tags are not allowed to flow down to the server, security policies, right? Now, third-party controls, third-party toolkit like Infragistics, I am for Infragistics. We have a control that does that. We have something called as an HTML editor, where you click on a button that will clear the MSO formats, I mean the MSO tags, but retain the format. So we can catch up later maybe or something, but since this session is associated to Silverlight, there is no direct connection to Silverlight and copying pasting from Word, but there is an Excel import.
I was talking about the Silverlight displaying that particular content from the database, fetching that HTML tags from the database. And
yeah, so you have the rest. Yeah, you have the rich text box. You can do that.
But rich text box in Silverlight 4, it takes as something.
It has
different.
its own limitations.
Yes.
Yeah, I understand. It has its own limitations. It is not the MS Word. So you have some of the third-party controls which will give you the ribbon control. You have the rich text box below it. You have the out-of-browser application. You have right-click menu now in Silverlight 4. So you can basically create something that works like MS Word or works like your own rich text formatting kind of an application. But then I don't believe Microsoft would allow you to use the ribbon and create a competitor of MS Word. I am not too sure about that. But that is the nearest thing that you can do with Silverlight 4 as of now. Right? I hope I answered your question well.
Actually, it was something different. I will catch you later.
Okay, catch me later. Thank you.